Get ready to quit the build. The QTB crew is rounding up all the gaming news and hot topics of the week with a little extra something. And here are your hosts, Bruno, Brad, and Nick.
What it do? You are listening to the QTV podcast. I'm your host, Bruno. We got the Brothers McMuffins in the house tonight. We got Brad. We got Nick. We are ready, boys. It is Game of the Year awards this week, and I am stoked. We were talking about some of our favorite 90s things in the pre-show, including Spice World.
Yeah.
I mean, if you haven't been on that train, like, you need to get on the Patreon and here's gush about how we love the Spice Girls, right?
I mean, not only that, Bruno, but we just debuted QTB Nights, which is our new bonus monthly podcast where we just go off script and just talk about anything and everything. So, I mean, we had an in-depth conversation about ambrosia, like the holiday dessert. Okay, what? I learned a lot about salad. That. Yeah,
ambrosia salad. There were some controversial opinions regarding that. And Brad, I mean, you were literally right there with Caitlin like the whole night, and then you just took a left turn out of nowhere with ambrosia salad and threw us all for a loop because apparently whipped cream isn't your dream.
Right.
I don't know. Well, all I'll say is that's a great opportunity where you get to hear from us directly. No filter. Our Patreon listeners get to interact with us live off the cuff, and you get those little anecdotes. I did a Bruno rant myself, and it was on. Yeah. Well, I did several actually. So
you did.
If you want to see me go on a Bruno rant,
I've seen you. Yeah.
If you want to
subscribe, and
I mean, if you want to
check it out.
If you want to get Brad fired up about something, just talk about Christmas things because he's got a lot of opinions surrounding Christmas. I didn't realize that he was so passionate about the holiday, but apparently, he is. It's important to him.
Well,
it is.
We never talked about this, but I'll give everyone a preview. It stems from the fact that my birthday is in November, and people want to start listening to Christmas music November 1st. I have a very strict rule that I'm not listening to Christmas music till after my birthday. It's just a rule. Can't do that.
That's fair enough. So growing up, my sister had the same rule. She didn't want any decorations in the house or anything like that Christmas related, but her birthday is December 10th. And so we had to wait every year to get our, and then I grew up and I realized that we were the only family that did that every other family started decorating like in the, beginning of December, right after Thanksgiving or something like that. And here I am, enjoying my tree from December to February instead of November to January, like a normal person, So I don't know. I had a weird childhood when it came to the
but that's just a flavor, right? That's what I've been up to this week. We've been recording QTV Nights, and it is a holiday themed episode. That's what I've been up to, and that's just a preview for our listeners right now. That's exclusive content on our Patreon that you get each month, and you hear us kind of like Nick said, unhinged, off the cuff on things, and you get to participate live with us as we record. It's a lot of fun. I mean, you can't beat it, right, Nick?
Wait a second. Did you just say live, Brad? Because I love live things. And you know what else I love that's also live is our amazing sponsors over at the Winner Live Arcade.
Segue.
Okay? Because, look, they're the official sponsor of the QTV network. We love them to death. And the thing I got to tell you right now is that the holiday fever is in effect right now at Winner Live Arcade. You can deck your halls with arcade claws anywhere, anytime. And your first win is free when you download with our exclusive link. The link is in our description or in the show notes of the podcast. Plus, we have a special promotional code for you right now for December only. If you use code WHATITDO when recharging your tokens, WHATITDO, all one word, that's someone's catchphrase in this room, at pay.app.winnerwinner.com, you're going to get a bonus 45% bonus tokens on your next purchase. We've never had a deal that high before. We're feeling the holiday cheer. So yeah, big thank you to Winner for making that happen. Go get those tokens, WHATITDO, code at checkout. And thanks as always to our friends at Winner. You like that code, Bruno?
I love it. That made my night. I mean, what it do? We're putting that on the t-shirt. Oh, wait, we already have it on the t-shirt. What did you?
Of course we do. Oh, man. All the catchphrases. Even my, spread it on a cracker, which I only say it when I mention the t-shirt. I got to use it more.
You only say it when you mention that there's a catchphrase. I haven't seen it organically come up, right?
I need like a poster like up here that's like, spread that on.
Don't forget to spread that on a cracker.
Yeah.
The meow. I mean,
meow.
You're the one that didn't want to come up with one. You're just like, whatever, I don't need one. Maybe I'm gonna change yours from meow to devil's advocate.
Yeah.
Or devil's Bradvocate.
Oh.
Yes. Woo! You saw where I was going.
I did. And I'm on that train.
It just happened. That just happened on live. Here we go. That's happening. Coming soon to the QTV merch store.
That is magic.
I'm ordering that in every color. I'm wearing that to every family get together. It's happening.
I love it. Well, I'll tell you what else I love, and that is our big story here coming from really just the YouTube trailer that has dropped recently, and that is this huge announcement of a free DLC update for Elden Ring. We're coming up on the 1 year anniversary of the release of Elden Ring.
Yeah.
And I mean, this game has just absolutely taken the world by storm. I think in a lot of ways helped to mainstream the Soulsborne style of game, right? That super difficult game that requires lightning fast reflexes, is always punishing, is always unforgiving, but still kind of does it in a way that makes it more accessible than I think previous games in that genre. So this update is going to be adding a lot in terms of PvP. If you are into duking it out in Elden Ring previously, the only way you could do it was with mechanics that were in place where you could invade other people's worlds, or they could invade your world in the middle of a gameplay session, like unannounced. Like you can, even if you don't want it to happen, it still happens. And then they try and shut you down, right? And it can be kind of unfair because you can be in combat with somebody and they just come in and wreck that. And it's an interesting mechanic, but one that isn't really a fair 1v1, 2v2 situation. This update completely turns that on its head and says, no, we're going to give you actual coliseums that already exist in the game but weren't used as a way to actually engage in duels, free-for-alls, and even team fights. I think this is going to go over really well because the combat of Elden Ring, there's so many different ways you can play the game, so many different ways you can build out your character. I mean, Bruno, you got to be looking at this and thinking like, I'm going to try it when it comes out because it's free, right?
Oh,
it's free, right? That's free. Yeah. That's incredible.
Yeah, I gotta jump back into it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so much content there to begin with that I've barely even scratched the surface because I'm still trying to level up my guy. Like, I mainly spent the entire time running around trying to get the crabs and the lobsters that would pop out of the ground because I felt like that was the only thing that I could, take on. But I think this is the type of game that already had such a huge presence in 2022, and to kind of drop this right around Game of the Year, like right around is just kind of hey, don't forget about us. It's perfect timing.
Oh, for sure,
right?
Brilliant.
I mean, the timing couldn't be better.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, the timing couldn't be better. I mean, and yeah, the Game Awards are coming up this Thursday, right? And that's the kicker, is that they are now going to be able to say, hey, this is available now, and it's free. Just get it, like play it. I mean, you cannot go wrong with an update like this. I think we're going to be expecting more single-player focused content down the road. There's large portions of the map that we can see that have not been explored yet or are accessible. Yeah. Or have any meaningful content into them. Yeah, it's already massive, but they're going to add more. But this is a welcome thing. We talked about this many times on the show about like Apex Legends and other games that did an amazing job of stealth dropping a game or content for a game, and then just saying, here it is. Like you don't know anything about it before it comes out. That's rare these days because of how leaks work. And they're just it's so easy in this era of instant information to not have somebody spill the beans on purpose or on accident. And we saw what happened with Grand Theft Auto 5, one of the biggest game releases, of arguably this decade. And it was all there, laid bare for us to see. So when it does happen and we can find out about it right away and it's coming, it's here, That gets me excited, Brad. I mean, there's nothing I love more than just an unexpected drop. I mean, we even had Halo, right? That released some bonus content that we didn't see coming.
Right. I mean, I'm definitely gonna turn the Halo topic over to my man Bruno here. But my quick little take here on the Elden Ring drop. I mean, this is the first like legitimate DLC we've seen from them, besides like patches and some updates. And to kind of hit, like you said, the trifecta: unknown or stealth, available right away, like transparency, and it being free. I think people are going to, already see this game being a value for its money from its original development and release, and now you're getting free DLC a year later. When we talk about longevity of games and playability of games, this is going to be huge for it. I mean, this is just going to bring, like Bruno said, it's going to bring people back in and get back into playing and really see what's available and kind of extend that life, extend that playability, and even bring people back in bring in new people who haven't played the game. So, I think this is an example of where the approach of how you got there with the DLC, the way you announced it, and how quickly it's available it's going to be a winning formula for Elden Ring for sure.
Absolutely.
Now, you mentioned Halo Infinite releasing some new DLC, and on that same topic, I think that this is a much needed, addition to the game. They have basically stealth dropped another winter update. There was a winter update a few weeks back. This is another content update, and they basically have implemented the custom game lobby or search function, which is that's the big thing right now, is that now you have the ability to search for custom games. And within that, there are several Forge made maps that have made it into the game, and the addition of Pit from Halo 3, which I thought was a great, probably one of the best maps of Halo 3. Definitely a fan favorite, an MLG favorite.
Yeah.
So these were the additions that I think should have been in the game all along. Right. And I think that, along with the multiplayer update, they've also added some campaign updates with the ability to replay missions without affecting the game, which is really mind-blowing to me.
Yeah.
That's really mind-blowing to me that you can replay a mission without going back and saying, well, now you've got to replay the rest of the game from this point, or you can't use these things because you didn't have them at this point. The amount of development that went into that was really amazing. So I know that's a stark contrast from what you're used to hearing from me, which is basically, peeing all over the Wheaties of 343 and whatever they do. But I honestly think that, they're on the right track. They have had a rough year. They've had a rough year. I don't think anyone is happier to say goodbye to 2022 more than Halo Infinite and look to the future of the game. The game is honestly hemorrhaging right now, and this has stopped the bleeding, as it were, right? Like there still needs to be a lot of work done in the battle pass, in the challenge system, in the way that the game functions as a live service. You mentioned, Brad, Elden Ring bringing in new players or having more people jump on it who may not have initially, gotten on the bandwagon of the game at its release. Now with the DLC, it's definitely more enticing, right? I'm hoping that that's the case with Halo. I fear that maybe the ship has sailed for a lot of players, and maybe it's too late, right? Like there's no faith left in this version of the game, right? And I hope that that's not the case. I know that apparently through, the community, people who have had interactions with Forge says it's amazing, although it's very, very buggy, which is why it's not out to the public right now and only in the hands of a few core people. But as I look back on the year that we've had, I'm reminded that 343 mentioned that this was a beta. And I think that we've been very, very spoiled in that term. especially with Fortnite, because Fortnite had beta written up there for several seasons, and it still outperformed and like a normal game would.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until a while ago that it dropped that title. Looking back on it, I honestly think that they truly meant beta. They truly meant that this is a beta form of the game. And I think that if they were to release it now with the content that they have added and the way they've gone about it, it would have been received so much better. People would be on board with it.
Yeah.
You know, now hearing all that, Brad, I know you haven't jumped in it. What's your take on that? Do you think that this is obviously it's stuff that should have been in there from the start, but, you know, do you think that ship has sailed for a lot of people, or do you think there's still hope to bring this around? Because apparently they want to keep this around for 10 years. So it's not like it's going anywhere, you know, like they want to, you know, I don't foresee them ditching it for anything, maybe adding something down the road, but ditching it altogether is going to be, you know, a no-go, I think, from the execs.
I don't want to get too far down this rabbit hole. I think for me, it wasn't enough. You know, I think, you know, even looking at this, the two things that stick out to me, that one is good, one isn't good. They finally added the ability to mute annoying players from the scoreboard now. So you can mute people now quickly and easily as you should have and could have in the past. The thing that I think I struggle with is that as Halo being a very core aspect to our group and to our family and our dedication to the history of the games, we were early adopters of Infinite. We bought the Battle Pass. We paid a premium for that. And I'm looking at just their approach to cosmetics still, and I still don't get it. Because right now they're offering every armor core for free to every player. And like things that we paid for and earned and grinded for in the Battle Pass are now being offered to free to new people or to everyone.
I got burned on that early on. I mean, you know that.
You know, right. So, you know, to me, I guess some of the more snazzy or like versions of them are still like you have to earn or pay for. But, you know, it just seems like they're struggling with how to create that, you know, shop platform, Battle Pass, monetization strategy on the armor cores and whatnot. And to me, that just is a miss. And to then just turn around and say, hey, we recognize, like, I think there was like a semi-apology, you know, in the third season by giving the Mark V available for free. And now they're giving all armor cores for free. It just seems like they're kind of backtracking on what they did. And, you know, what do you do for the people who bought early on and bought a bunch of tokens and things like that at a premium? And this just feels like you're just trying to get new people to jump in because you're saying things are free. And so that to me completely. I think it's just hard. It's hard for me to swallow. So that's why I think it's still frustrated.
That's something that I noticed early on, right? I bought like $50 worth of like the coins, and the next day they dropped the price by $5. Like you know, and I was like, are you serious? Like, and I got nothing in return from that. You know, I will say that in that respect, the customer service, attention to customer service is a complete miss. You know, I love what Fortnite has done and giving players special editions of a skin if they were early adopters, right? Specifically, I remember the Skull Trooper. He has a purple variant that you can only get if you bought him when he first came out.
Right.
And he was kind of like, you know, the first big skin really that came out for Fortnite. And
or they give you the opportunity to return something within 30 days. If you're not a big fan and you're like, you know what, the skin isn't really great, they give you like 3 or 4 like lifetime returns and you get your money back with no questions asked. Like, it's just incredible, like the ability to do that and like, that was an impulse buy and I don't like it and I'm going to return it. So
and you've come down to the, you know, the final thing of my final point of this, and it comes down to multitasking. 343 right now does not have the manpower to multitask in the way that they need to really address the game. And I feel like we're still a year away from what what we hope Halo to be. I think that they're on the right track. I think that there's a lot more left to do, and I think that they have to essentially backtrack and give these things for free because no one played it.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's a a simple fact that other than the core group of people, and that's my hesitancy. That's my only hesitancy of jumping back into the game, right?
And that's such a difference between what we were just talking about with Elden Ring. There's such a hype around this new DLC content that existing players like that are still playing, or even people who just set it down will come back. It's not like their player base is established and passionate. It's not they're not there to disenfranchised and frustrated. And I think that's going to be the difference in how these two DLCs are going to be received and whether they're going to be successful.
Yeah, Halo Infinite.
We'll
is
say this,
showing,
Nick.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say I did not expect Bruno to show optimism in our podcast talking about Halo Infinite.
Well, no, and as a hardcore
if I had a nickel every time I heard that,
you would not have many nickels.
No.
So yeah, Bruno as a probably the most diehard fan of the group of us for Halo, I think, and the most passionate and outspoken. I think his viewpoint is reflected. If you go to like the reveal of this in YouTube, normally anytime there's any news about 343 whatsoever, including their video updates when they release, here's our roadmap or here's what's coming up in this next drop pod, that they're excited too. All of the comments are people like rare 343W. And so there is a very positive reception because now we're looking at this custom game mode selector that's now accessible. We're seeing these crazy Forge creation. We're seeing recreations of maps that are not in the game, and they were showcasing it, right? Someone made a great fan remake of Coagulation. Someone made a great and even
these
like
are like
paintball
classic
mode
maps. Yep.
Yeah. And so all of these modes that previously you had to be like part of a Discord server or like know a guy to even access them at all. Now there's a browser that lets you play. Yeah, I think this is going to be the start of something. Now, whether they have the manpower to support it, I don't know. But Brad, to your point earlier, which is, Elden Ring, it was a day one release that was complete. And we talked about it then, and I'm going to keep saying
release.
it.
Yep.
And you don't get that anymore because no one is incentivized anymore to release a day one $60. Yeah. And now look at what happened. And the proof is in the pudding now, right? Now, Halo Infinite had a decent initial release, but that was free to play, right? For the multiplayer component. You look at Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Game came out in horrible state. There was a news article I just read talking about how it's now the lowest rated main gen Pokemon game ever.
Wow.
And the user score is way below, but even the official ratings now make it the worst rated mainline series game ever. Okay.
It's enough that Nintendo has had to make a statement about it. And they never make statements about anybody's gripes or complaints. They're just like, suck it up and deal with it. Like, no, daddy messed up this time, and there's an apology letter.
However, and I'm sure there was enough returns happening where they felt like they needed to try and stop the bleeding. The point that I'm making, though, to compare it to Elden Ring and to compare it to Halo Infinite is that it still sold 10 million copies. To put that in context, the new God of War game sold about 5 million copies in the same time frame. So that the point still stands that you can release an unfinished, buggy game.
I'd still say that I'd go with this is a Bradvocate. This is the devil's advocate, obviously. But I think more people own a Nintendo Switch and are Pokemon fans than people own PlayStation 5s. So I think that's a number that's really hard to compare and say like, these two are comparable. But your point is right. People have already spent that money and they, they're essentially trying to backtrack and make people who already have the game happy, which is rare.
I think that's a good point, Bruno, and a good segue to actually get to our next topic, because you talk about how many people own a Switch versus how many own a PS5 and PS5 exclusives, right? God of War, the new God of War game, is only on PlayStation, and I think that could hurt its chances at the Game Awards coming up on Thursday. So I think that's where we're going next, right, Nick? We're going to do a little preview of what's coming for the Game Awards.
We're heading in that direction, Brad. Like I said, this is a surprisingly jam-packed episode because of all these stealth drops. Like 24 hours ago, we were like, what are we going to talk about? And now we're like, what aren't we going to talk about? Like, how do we fit this into an hour? First, of course, one of the perks of joining us here in the live stream is that our viewer comments kind of get added into the mix. And I got some good ones here. First of all, it's completely off topic, but we did get a super chat from Caitlin stating that ambrosia salad is for superior taste buds. That is a direct burn aimed at you, Brad. How do you reply? How do you respond?
Well, I'll just say that, I always will play the devil's advocate. That's all I can say.
Wow. Bruno, I mean, bravo. That's top tier.
We got a winner.
This is why Bruno's the marketing guy, and we just show up. Like, that's amazing. And some great comments about Halo that we were talking about here so far. We have Josh saying Halo 3 is the best one. Well, Josh, one of the reasons why this update is also very hype in Halo Infinite is they brought back the pit, which is like to this day is one
of
like
Narrows. I think that's what it's called, Narrows, which is the one where it has the platform in the middle, and then there's the two launch pads on either side, and it's a big sniping map. Oh yeah, that's a fun.
And you're
one.
in space. What more could you want?
Yeah, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, good stuff in there. Good stuff.
Yeah, and Epic Capture Productions chiming in with, I'll say the most hours I have in a Halo game would be Halo 2. Oh, yeah, because back then we had the free time to play, too. You got to factor that in.
Yeah, that was, I think for me, some of the Halo 2 battle rifle is just ranked superior in terms of that, but I have a lot of hours ranked into Halo 3, and it was my mission to get recon armor, and I did it, and I'm still so proud of that. And then they gave to everyone, and that's when we knew
they're doing it again. They're just doing it again, Brad.
Now. Should have known. Well, if they're giving out recon armor to everyone, I'll tell you something else that we're basically giving out to everyone, and that is our amazing content over at Patreon. Guys, I got to tell you something. As little as $2 a month, we might as well be giving it away for the amount of extra content that you're going to get. And as always, I want to give a huge shout out to our Infuego supporters, Epic Capture Productions, Matt.Bat, Alexa, Caitlin, Josh, Court, Nene, and Megan, and our QTB Plus supporters, Nick, the Dudist Monk, Indie Gamiacs, Alan Abadessa, Mr. Grove Games, the Intergalactic Pinecone, and Fluffy Bunny. Thank you all so much. And don't forget that for as little as $2 a month, you're going to get access to our QTB Nostalgia Vault, our new bonus QTB nights, off script, anything could happen. And also, don't forget, you're going to get access to that exclusive merch. We're talking stickers, we're talking tote bags, posters, and t-shirts you can't even get in our shop. You can't go wrong with this. So stop on by. It's patreon.com/quitthebuild. Again, patreon.com/quitthebuild. Thanks, as always, to our amazing supporters on Patreon. And if I used to work in radio, and you have to get it down to the second. Yeah, and I know you're clapping for Patreon, but clap for me too, because that was amazing timing.
That was all. They knew it was for you. That was all for you.
Well, winner likes the music. That's all that matters. Our sponsor's happy. Oh, man. Well, here's something that many people won't be happy about. And this is our next story coming from Polygon.com, that Microsoft has confirmed they are raising first-party Xbox game prices to $70. Games like Starfield, Forza Motorsport, and Redfall will reflect the new pricing. There isn't a whole lot to touch on with this. We've talked for a while on the show about how the industry is trending in this direction. Sony had no qualms about being the first out of the gate to get there, and now everyone else is just kind of playing catch up. But even then, it's just the first party entries. What I'll ask though is, Bruno, do you think that this announcement, especially when you consider that Game Pass is going to give you these games regardless, and as of right now, we don't know of any price increases that are planning to come, all this really does is just boost the importance and value of being on Game Pass if you're in that ecosystem, right?
Oh, 100%. I mean, it adds more value to Game Pass, and I think that it's also one of the reasons why PlayStation is so adamant against the Activision Blizzard acquisition on the Xbox side. I think they know that day one release on Xbox is a huge deal, even for something like Call of Duty, right? We mentioned it last stream about how they were, basically trying to, stop that. And we've talked about them both downplaying themselves in that response. So I think that this trend is typical and not not in a way that anyone should be surprised, not in a way that anyone should be upset. We've had a $60 price point for, I don't know, like 20 some years now. Like it's been a long time, you know, and I think that the fact that there hasn't been an increase in price, it kind of reflects where we're at right now, quality wise, right? I think we're kind of meeting, and a lot of people are going to be angry. Well, I'm not getting my money's worth at this point. You know, why are you increasing the price? Because I think that you need to in order to jump over that next level, right? In order to hire more people, you know, you need to increase the price of what you're outputting. And whether that's through Game Pass or, you know, if you're updating the subscription, which I don't think they're going to do, like you said, right away, or through the resulting, you know, price of the actual game itself, like it needs to come about. And it's something that I think Nintendo will eventually do, because right now they're stuck at that $50 price tag. You know, an update to them to a $60 won't seem as bad, you know, and they can make that jump easily. I think everyone in the gaming industry is welcoming this update, and it's something that we're just going to see follow suit from everyone in the coming years, especially if we keep complaining about the output that Nintendo's doing with things like Violet, right? I think that obviously we need to readdress, you know, the pricing structure if we're going to continue to put out quality stuff. You know, Brad, you're a numbers guy. What's your take on that?
I think Nick, you know, kind of hinted on it, and you did initially. This is a platform. This is a portfolio move, right? Not only are you weren't the first to establish the new level, so you've held out to show that you're loyal to like, they've held the price of the console, they've held the price of the games for as long as they can, and obviously we know that they took a little bit of a loss on the Series X to even get that out there, right? And we're seeing that at some point. You're right, Bruno. Your point, part of that is you got to raise the prices to pay for overhead. However, this to me, this is a complete pivot move to not force, but really encourage people to see the value of Game Pass. It's a no-brainer. If you're paying $70 at launch for one game, that's like almost 6 months of Game Pass. Like, think about that. So if you buy more than 2 games a year at full price, then that's equivalent to a year's worth of Game Pass. That to me is a no-brainer. Look at the difference. 2 games or access to play any game online in the library, hundreds of games at any time. That's a no, and you spread that cost over monthly, right? So you're not paying $70 a pop.
Yeah.
You're paying $15 a month. You spread that over a year. I mean, that to me shows you that the best business model for I would say the average gamer who consumes multiple games is clearly the Game Pass.
Yeah.
And this is and this shows you now, if you put Microsoft and Sony and you line them up and compare them toe to toe, even though the prices of their individual titles are the same, it just shows you, okay, well, we're the same there, we've got a better subscription service, we've got the same price on platform, you know, first party games, you know, like, I don't see where Xbox isn't winning here. And I think it reinforces that, you know, they're still going to offer those titles for day one on the Game Pass. To me, this is the best time to jump on board, grab yourself a 3-month subscription, grab yourself 6-month subscription, and hop on the Game Pass. That's this move. That's what it is right here.
Yeah.
I mean, now you make an interesting point here, and there's something I want to mention, because I see this argument a lot, and it's slightly off topic, but not really. But it's the idea that should, you know, obvious, and it's a quick answer, right? Like, a lot of people complain, well, why are digital games the same price as physical games? And I think that the easy answer for everyone is the fact that brick and mortar stores still exist. Digital games can't undercut physical stores and physical games, because then no one would buy them in a physical form. You know, like, you would be more inclined to purchase them digitally And that would really, really upset the balance that you have with these stores, which, if you go back to the history of, Nintendo and video games and them trying to, basically corner the market in terms of retail space, you've got to do a lot of bidding to get space in retail, especially as it's now dwindling. And you can't undercut, your supplier or, your market in that way, right?
Right.
And they make better margins on the digital versions, right? It makes complete sense to get people to go digital. So, I mean, I don't know, Nick, what do you think? I mean, where do you see this kind of fitting into the larger picture, not which is Microsoft, but in comparison to their competitors?
You better believe they want people to go digital. I mean, just look at what's happening right now with the pricing of their consoles. The Series S, and this is crazy because the Series S has been one of the most affordable bang for your buck consoles that is on the market. Full stop. They lowered the price for the holidays. It used to be $299, now it's $249. Like, that is an insane.
So you're telling me it's cheaper than a Switch? It's cheaper than a Switch now.
That's what I'm saying.
Wow.
Like, they're trying to find ways to get this thing in the house, and they're willing to take a big loss on it to do so. We've always known consoles have been loss leaders, but that's the digital version, right? You can't put a physical disc in that game, and even if you wanted to, we know this is going to be the final generation for physical games because the physical games don't, aside from Switch games, they don't actually house the game in them. It just gives you the rights to download it. You can't fit them on the discs, and even if you did, why would you bother? There's going to be a day one patch that instantly invalidates it. Those days are gone. And I know that's a sad day for collectors and a sad day for people that want to preserve physical media, but it's a direction that we saw coming. So, to raise the price by $10, I think it's like I said, it shines more of a light on Game Pass and on their model, because I think you look at the numbers right now for how many people are subscribed to Game Pass. It's a non-issue. It's a non-issue.
Yeah.
Why do I care? I'm going to get that game day one, and I know that as long as I have Game Pass, right, that title, because it's Xbox exclusive, is always going to be on Game Pass. It will never rotate out. So it's, I think they are adjusting to industry norms, and they're doing it in the softest way possible by saying, okay, we're going to lead the way with our titles. The Game Pass subscribers won't mind. And in the coming year or two, we're going to see other third-party developers and publishers begin to scale up to that number to meet them. And hopefully the result is more titles like Elden Ring that we get a little more care, a little more polish put into it day one. I am very pessimistic about that. But I guess we'll let time tell the story. And as always, I do want to head over to our comments here. We do have a couple good comments in there. Courtney Day saying, television prices are going lower and systems are going higher. I mean, aside from the Series S, I mean, and there was the story about PlayStation going in the opposite direction, right? In the UK, they raised the price of their consoles. Yeah. They're not willing for it to be a loss leader, which I think is very anti-consumer. Also, there's a ongoing hashtag right now for Get Brad glasses, because he is the only person right now not sporting them. What do you think, Brad? You want some?
That's crazy.
There doesn't have to be anything in there. You can just wear the frames.
Well, so I wear glasses. I got contacts in. I just don't have my glasses on tonight. So
okay,
I mean,
next episode.
I can get fake ones. I'll have them on. Don't worry. We'll be the glasses trio.
The Brothers McGlasses.
Yeah.
I
love that though. I appreciate the love. Don't leave me. No Brad left behind. Okay, so
that's right. That's right. I love it. Oh, man. Well, speaking of no Brad left behind, Brad, I know you won't be able to join us for our live stream on Thursday when we're going to be an official streamer for the Game Awards. But I do want to say, I think now is a good opportunity for us to kind of give a little bit of a sneak peek of our picks for these big categories. There are so many categories in the Game Awards that cover a lot, but I think our viewers want to know what your picks are, and even get some of our picks too as a teaser. We will be going live at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific on this Thursday. And there's about a half an hour there until the actual pre-show for the Game Awards begins. So that's going to give us a chance for Bruno and myself to go over every category, our picks, our reasoning behind it, and we'll also be providing your picks as well, Brad. So I guess we'll just start with the big chungus here. Game of the year, some big contenders across multiple platforms. Who do you got?
I'm taking the odds-on favorite. I gotta go with Elden Ring. Sorry.
Okay.
It seems like it's kind of I don't want to say it's a foregone conclusion. I think it's a 2-horse race, to be honest with you. But I think the platform constraints for God of War Ragnarok is really going to give Elden Ring an easy win here for Game of the Year.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, the cross-platform viability really helps. And thinking about the past Game of the Year winners, that's usually how it ends up going. They'll have the titles in there that are console exclusive, but it's if you're not a PlayStation owner, you're not going to know about or PC, you're not going to know about Stray, you're not going to know about God of War Ragnarok. If you're not a Switch owner, you don't know the first thing about Xenoblade Chronicles. What about you, Bruno?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Elden Ring just because it got somebody like me to check out the game, somebody that normally wouldn't. Thanks to Epic Capture Productions for hitting me up early in the year and making that possible. It's such a great game, and I'm looking forward to the DLC as well. So I definitely have to give it that pick. And I like Brad's reasoning. I'm gonna piggyback off of Brad here and say that the console restraints for God of War Ragnarok might have an impact here, but it being so fresh in everyone's mind and the stands out there for just the God of War and PlayStation in general, I think that Brad's right. It's going to be a very close race. I'd like to see the results of the
how
percentage
close the
or how close the voting was. That would be really interesting.
It's a 2-horse race here, in my opinion. I think it's going to be one of those two. It's a coin flip, but I give the edge to Elden Ring. How about you, Nick?
Yeah, it's really tough to say right now, honestly, just because of the huge hype. Because remember, time plays a factor, and even though we'd like to think that we treat a game that came out a year ago the same way as we treat a game that came out a couple days ago, I really think the timing of the release of God of War Ragnarok was intentional to try and get the media press attention and get the hype and get that nomination and get that win. Because just like the Emmys, the Grammys, they campaign for these things. You know what I mean? There's a whole marketing thing that happens to curry favor with the systems in place to get the votes. And I think there's so much conversation right now happening about the pure excellence of God of War Ragnarok. In the interest of making sure that we don't just tie on every category, I'm going to go God of War Ragnarok. I think it has a great shot. My personal favorite is definitely Elden Ring from the list, but I'm separating those two. And saying that I think the dub is going to go to God of War. So there's our first category for our previews. And like I said, there's so many categories here that it's really tough to hit them all in this quick little preview. But I do think one that we should hit, because we've talked about how ongoing games, on live service games, really deserve more attention than they get in these awards. I'm glad they have their own category, and I think we should shine a spotlight on that. So I guess we'll go around the horn one more time here, Brad. What do you have among our live service offerings?
Again, I think there's two that typically stand out here for me, but I'm biased. So I think Fortnite, bar none, has it's the best ongoing game. You talk about end of season events, the launch of new seasons. I mean, how many people are waiting that jump in and check out the new season, especially this new one with a new map, complete new functionality, new how do I say, new enhancements as the match goes on. I think Fortnite, top to bottom, the ongoing experience that they bring week in and week out, season in, season out, I don't see why it's not the favorite here. But I will give a nod. I think Apex Legends has continued to show that it also has sustainability across seasons. There's definitely a loyal fan base, and I think they, compared to maybe some of the others in that category and that kind of game style of first-person shooter kind of, compared to Halo Infinite per se, I think Apex does a really good job as well. But I'm biased here. I'm a huge Fortnite fan, and I think Epic's going to pull this one out.
Okay.
I'd like to see the same thing. This list has Apex Legends, Destiny 2, Final Fantasy, Fortnite, and Genshin Impact on there for those of you at home. And I would say that, one of the more surprising ones to me has been just the resurgence in Destiny 2. I remember when Destiny 1 came out and then Destiny 2 right after. there was a lot of consternation behind that whole release, and it didn't start well. It ended. It's going great now. I still don't think there's enough of a fan base for Destiny 2 for it to get the full vote, right? Like I think again, Brad's right. It's going to be between Apex Legends and Fortnite. And I have to ask, this was the year that they implemented the no build, right? That
Correct.
Started this year.
Because I made the jingle about that in like April.
I think I got to give it to Fortnite in that respect. I think I really have to give it to Fortnite in the thought process that they took a game that was completely centered around building, and the pro scene was how well you could build, and flipped the script. And I honestly can't find streamers who even stream build mode anymore. Like the top streamers are all doing no build mode.
Yeah.
So I think it was one of the most pivotal things for Fortnite. And it literally solved the problem that everyone had, which was, I don't like the building. Yep.
Pivotal pivot. But and just to kind of tie it in, Nick, here, because they're close in category in terms of the nominees. If we're talking about best ongoing game, there's also best community support, and Apex, Destiny 2, Final Fantasy, and Fortnite are also in that category. And so I think Fortnite, if they don't win best ongoing game, they have a big leg up to maybe win best community support. We touched on it earlier with, the returns, the ability to listen to the community, implement no build. I mean, they're constantly checking in on what their gamer base is saying. I think that is a big opportunity for them to win that. Although I do think Bruno would make a case that No Man's Sky could also warrant like kind of a delayed win here. It's been a long journey, but the community support and hearing about the initial launch to where we are now, I think if I'm looking at best community support, I think it's either going to be Fortnite or maybe No Man's Sky.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you. The amount of support that Fortnite gets in terms of its creator mode is really up there. But you're right. I think No Man's Sky will forever be the most improved for me. One of the initial videos that I did back on my YouTube channel, when I restarted for the umpteenth time, was specifically on how Sean Murray lied to everyone about No Man's Sky. Like he literally lied. And now, he's delivered something that is exactly what he envisioned. And I think that's commendable. And before we kind of wrap up here, I would say that one of the things that I think Stray deserves something.
Best debut indie. It's got to win best debut indie. It's got to get
either that, or I think best game direction. Like I think that also really has a place, because that says awarded for outstanding creative vision and innovation in game direction and design.
Yeah.
And all of these games, like you're not going to give that to Elden Ring because it's just a hyped up Dark Souls. You're not going to give it to God of War Ragnarok because it's the same as God, when they rehash God of War the first time, right? So the gameplay is not that different. Same thing with Horizon Forbidden West. I mean, I haven't played or really know much about Immortality. I'm gonna have to do a little research on that. But I gotta figure like it's the kiddies. I figure the kiddies need a win.
You gotta give the cats something here, man.
They gotta have something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I tend to agree. I think I'm hoping Stray comes away with at least a win. They're nominated in a few categories. So there's best indie and best debut indie. So, I think that to me is interesting. There's like kind of a difference there, but I'm hoping Stray pulls out at least one win here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well,
yeah, I mean, I think that kind of sums it up. I will get in real quick my choice for best ongoing game is definitely Fortnite. I think, the no build mode alone was revolutionary. I think they took a flyer on that. They didn't need to, but they did the right way of doing it, which was to test the waters, see what the reception would be, introduce mechanics like sprinting and mantling that allowed you to have more freedom of movement to coincide with that, see that the numbers check out, add it as a dedicated mode. And now, I mean, you look at this new update, this new chapter is breathtaking. The way the Unreal Engine is rendering light and just, I mean, it is, Fortnite has evolved in not just gameplay and licensing and innovation and mechanics, but just the actual graphic fidelity of the game. Almost like Minecraft, where Minecraft has stayed true to its form, true to its voxel style, but still adds in ray tracing and still adds in these beautiful updates that make the game somehow look more gorgeous. Fortnite's no different. And in a battle royale scenario where you're rendering potentially hundreds of all these different, one-off skins and things, and it still does it in such a beautiful way, and it all comes together. There simply isn't a game that is more deserving of it this year in particular than Fortnite. So that is definitely my pick, and I'm with you. You got to give the cats a win somewhere. It's amazing to me that it took us this long to come up with a platformer from the perspective of a cat. Like, we've done cat-themed things, but to just be a straight-up cat, like realistic cat physics, you get an achievement for knocking stuff off of a roof because that's what they do. Okay? Yep. I'm there for it, so...
I'll be looking forward to tuning into you guys on Thursday. I hope everyone else does when we're streaming the Game Awards. I'm interested to hear your detailed take on the best VR AR category, because I think that one is a little bit of a out of left field. So looking forward to hearing your takes on that and the rest of the many categories, and seeing who's going to get the most right. We'll see.
I do have opinions. Yeah. For me, the game of the year is the one that makes me the least nauseous. That's pretty much it. But, well, guys, as always, want to thank everybody for checking out our podcast. And if you haven't already, make sure to stop by our website, quitthebuild.com, your one-stop shop for all things QTB. Check out our amazing blog, get to that network page, check out our amazing network partners like 1 Hour, One Decision, and so many others. And, of course, you got to get over to our Discord, right? Go to the bottom of the homepage, bottom of most pages there, get you that link, join our rapidly growing community of gamers and people that put, What do you got?
And the merch, you can't forget, there's still time.
Oh, yes.
Our Quit the Build ugly Christmas sweater is still available, and you still have time, folks.
Get it in time for the holidays.
Are 3 weeks away, so grab it now. Wear it at your Christmas Day function. Support the brand. Let everyone know. What's Quit the Build? Oh, you haven't heard it? Check it out. It's the best gaming podcast out there with the Brothers McMuffin. So,
oh my gosh, spread that on a cracker. I'm telling you what. Hello, I love it. There it is.
And when you get into those tough family discussions, always know that you can be the devil's advocate.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
He's leaning into it. That's how you know it's a winner. He likes it. Hey, Mikey.
Hey, Mikey.
Man. That's right.
Well,
and yes, go ahead.
What were you going to go ahead?
Epic Capture Productions giving one last shout out to QTB. We got to say it on 3. All right, here I'll say QTB. We'll say it. Okay, ready?
We're
going to whisper Knights.
Oh,
yeah. Okay. Here we go.
You didn't know I was going to say it.
You didn't know. Here it comes. It's QTB.
Nice.
That's nice. That's how you do it. Okay. Check it out, everybody. Thanks as always. Bruno, take us out of here.
It's been fun, guys. We do appreciate it. Thanks so much for tuning in. For Nick and Brad, I'm Bruno.
Hey, that's all, folks. For Bruno and Brad, I'm Nick.
And for Nick and Bruno, I'm Brad.
Peace out. Let it go.
Quit the Build.